Do you struggle with dry meatballs? Well, I'm going to share with you today 2 tips that are going to make your meatballs so juicy. This is going to be the way that you make them all the time. Pronto? Allora andiamo a cucinare. Ciao my friends, welcome to my kitchen. My name's Lucia. This is where I teach you easy recipes for everyday healthy cooking, and today is the ultimate juicy meatball. Everybody loves meatballs, right? To start, we need some ground meat, and traditionally it is beef, sausage, and veal. And I am using the beef and the sausage, but I don't like to use the veal. So I substitute it for turkey, and I find it's a pretty good substitute. So we've got a pound of each of these meats. To that, we are going to add 4 cloves of crushed garlic. And then we're gonna add our spices. And in here I have salt, pepper, parsley, and dried oregano. We do wanna add 1 egg, and our secret ingredient to get these meatballs super moist is, instead of breadcrumbs, I actually use day-old bread. Now I've cut them up into small cube-sized pieces here, just so that they'll absorb the water. And what I've done is I've added about 4 tablespoons of water to this. And you want to just kind of stir it up just so that the water can kind of coat all the breadcrumbs. You shouldn't have any water sitting at the base. If there is water at the base and your breadcrumbs are all moist, just drain the water out. But at this point, there is no water down here, and it's just the breadcrumbs. So I'm going to add all the breadcrumbs. And again, you want to cut them as small as you can because they'll be easy to kind of break up. You don't want chunks of bread. So we just want to go in here and mix everything together. And of course, as we're mixing, we want to like kind of squish that bread to kind of help break it up and make sure we have all the spices and all the ingredients evenly incorporated. So now that my meat mixture is all evenly incorporated, I'm just gonna set this aside for right now. And I wanna start making my sauce. So while I roll out the meatballs, the sauce can start cooking. So to get started with the sauce, I like to use a high saute pan, only because I'm gonna have a lot of meatballs in here. So I've added a couple tablespoons of olive oil. And to that, I've got an onion that I've diced. I normally use white onion, but I don't have any, and I had a bunch of purple onions, so I'm just using purple onions. And then to that, I'm gonna add 4 cloves of garlic minced. And I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of salt. And I'm just gonna stir this until the onions are nice and soft. All right, now that our onion is translucent, we wanna go ahead and add 2 large cans of crushed tomato sauce. So now we're just gonna cover this and just let it cook over medium heat. And while it's starting to heat up and cook, we're gonna roll out our meatballs. So to roll out our meatballs, I like to use a spring release scoop, just so that all the meatballs are the even size and they'll all cook the same. And so I pretty much just, on a cookie sheet, try to scoop out, and I just place them just random like this. And then I'll go back and I will roll. So when it comes to rolling the meatballs, sometimes you'll get the meat sticking all over your hands. So if you actually put a little bit of water on your hands, or you could do olive oil, either one, and just kind of roll the meatballs, it'll get them into a nice round shape. And so another thing that will keep these meatballs moist is using the 3 different types of meat. I know a lot of people, they just use straight ground beef when they make meatballs, and I find that that tends to be very drying as well. So by adding these other types of meat, other cuts like the pork and the turkey, that would also help make your meatball moist. And so we're just going to continue rolling until all the meat is rolled out. Okay, so all my meatballs are rolled out, and I got about 33. If you want to freeze your meatballs and maybe not cook all of them, the best thing to do is to put a sheet of plastic wrap on the bottom of your cookie sheet before you put the meatballs on. Stick this whole thing in the freezer just long enough for the meatballs to freeze, and then you can take them out, and then they'll be easy to release because of the plastic wrap, and just put them in a freezer bag and then put them in the freezer. And then when you want a few meatballs, you just take out what you want and add them to the sauce. Another tip in making your meatballs moist is to cook them in sauce. I know some people like to actually fry them in the oven or fry them on the stovetop, and you can do that, that's fine. But I find that when you cook it in the sauce, not only does it flavor your sauce, but it also keeps the meatballs even more moist. So that's what we're gonna do right now. So you can see that our sauce is hot. And so now I am basically just gonna drop our meatballs in the sauce. And you can always give it a little shake so everything kind of settles. And this is why I like working with a wide, high side saute pan, because I can add all my meatballs in here. So we've got a few that are sticking up, and it's really not a big deal. But at this point, we just want to go ahead and cover. And just every once in a while, just kind of shake your pan just to kind of move them around so that they kind of settle. As they cook, they'll kind of shrink up a little bit, but because it's enclosed and everything, they will cook. And then once they kind of cook and set, then we can go in and stir, but right now we can't, so we just need to let them set. And so it should take about, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes. All right, so it's been about 10-15 minutes, and we can see now we can kind of come in here and stir our meatballs around. They're all solid, they're not gonna fall apart, they are perfectly cooked. So I can just turn the heat off right now. And so we can go ahead and just plate a few of these meatballs. We add just a little bit of sauce on top here. I'm gonna add just a little bit of parsley. Of course, sprinkle just a little bit of Parmesan cheese also. And you can see these meatballs are perfect. I would love to taste them for you and tell you that they're juicy, but I can't. I'm on this strict diet right now. It just smells fantastic. But I just encourage you to go ahead and make these meatballs for yourself, and you can see how juicy they are. I love sharing my everyday recipes with you guys. And so until next time, I'm Chef Lucia, and I'll see ya. Ciao.